differences between the two important options we have, object and map. So map and object. How we can configure and use these maps. One basic example of working with maps. Technically, how you can work with the maps. So how do we deal with the maps? Let's see. So already in last session, we discussed all the differences between map and object. And now how to use it. What are the various methods? So that means methods, method and description. So what is the method used by map? So that means what are the options used by map? TypeScript, that is map in TypeScript. How we can use them? What are the various options available? Actually, so map provides some important methods, like we have a set method. So set method is used to add a new item into map. So we can add a new item into map collection. So into map collection, right? And we have another method as get. So that is generally used to get the value. That means how we can get the value from the map. How we can read the value from the map and use the value. So that means read value from map collection, using a key reference, using a key reference. And we have an option like delete. So remove any item from map. So based on key reference, we can remove anything by using this delete option. And we have has to verify whether the item available or not, whether the item available or not has. So it checks and returns boolean true or false. That is has like option. And we have clear. It is used for remove all items from map. So if you want to remove all items from map collection, you can use clear. We can handle that. And one more option is we can use the collections, like we can use the options like keys. Keys is to return all keys. Return all keys. And we have like values. It is used to return all values. And you have options like you can even use the options like entries. So it return both key and value, So it will return both key and value. Entries will return both keys and values. These are all the options which are used to dynamically handle them. Generally, The regular doubt is how they are used in real world. You are just learning a language, and this need to be implemented in Angular to understand how we use in real world, how we can add, how we can remove, how we can modify, where they are exactly used and handled. I am just giving you the introduction about what is it and why it is needed and how it is used. Where exactly it is used, that you have to understand when you are dealing with examples. That's what we will learn in Angular, right? As of now, we are discussing some basics about what they are. Right? How exactly they are used, you can see implementation in Angular examples, right? Technically, so we want to add options. We need to configure options into maps. How we can add an option into map? How we can read the options from the map? One difference is there. So the difference is nothing but actually one of the main differences when you are specially dealing with TypeScript. When you are specially dealing with the TypeScript, the problem you will face is so the TypeScript map and JavaScript map, a little variation is there. You cannot exactly handle how you are doing it, in JavaScript. In JavaScript also we have, but in JavaScript it is little bit different. Different means reading. Reading is simple, and here we need to use a different process. Some extra work we have to do. What is that? I will show you actually. So one more option we have size to return the length of elements, items, length, to return the total, return the count of items in collection. To return the count of item in collection, we can use the size property, right? We can use size property. Okay, let's see how we can use them, how we can configure them, how do we create a map. There are several techniques of creating a map. LET, suppose product is equal to new map type. It is a map type. And into this, we are adding values. After creating, dynamically you can add values into it. That means you have to use map product dot set. And here you can define key and value reference. Key is any type and value is also any type. So key is one. Then here I defined some Samsung. Value is like string, Samsung TV. You can add many items, product dot set and to some Nike casuals like this. We can add items into it. This is one method how we can add items into it. So that is one method of adding items into it. This is one method. That means, so syntax, you can add in this way. There is another technique. This is syntax one. So how we can configure and add items into it. There is another method. What you can do is, so syntax two, you can chain the set properties. Chaining. How you can chain the set property is, so no need of ending here. I'm not ending the map. That means semicolon is removed. If semicolon is removed, that means you are not ending. When you are not ending, you can directly use set method, dot set method. And you can directly use dot set method for all of them. No need to mention every time that. And don't end it. End with the last one. So directly you can add set and directly end at the last. So that is another technique. If there are many items you want to initialize, you can do in this way. You can configure in this way. So this is another syntax. So how you can add the items, how you can add the items into map, how we can add items into app. So don't end here. If you end here, it will not work. You have to use the map name and set. Directly you can use set and you can add all those options. There is another technique. So another technique here. So you can do in this way. So what we can do is, so we can create a map with a collection. And here, this we can configure instead of set. What we can do is we can use an array here instead of set. We can use an array type collection here. In that, again, an array. Every collection is an array. This array contains key and it contains value. So that's how we can configure. And it is automatically iterable, right? And here I'm defining, so another option too. So that means, so it says night casuals like this. Casuals like this. We can configure in this way and we can end this. We can add the items in this way, like an array reference. We can configure and use like an array reference. These are the various techniques of configuring maps. So you can use a simple array. What is the purpose of this is you just created it, but later you want to add items into it. Initially it's just empty. Later you want to add. Then you can use this technique. You configured, at the time of configuring, you want to initialize some values. Then you can use this technique. You can use this technique. So I want to directly define a constant initialization of those values, constant initialization of values into the memory. So then you can use like an array reference here, So multiple values can be configured with an array reference. Anything is similar. Depending on different situations, we need to configure and use them. Now, how we can get the values, how we can access them. To access, we have to just use. So in order to access, we need to just use here product. We have to use product.get. We have to use product.get. And through get, we are accessing it. So that means which, based on the key, you need to access. That means the key is 1. So key is 1. It is a number type. It is a number type. And what is advantage here is once you configure as number, it is accessed as number and its return is string. So that means it returns a string. That means I have to create or directly print let. So TV is a string type, and into that we can get it and display. Because you are accessing and it is returning a string reference. It is returning a string reference. This is one process how we can manage, or you can directly print it. We can directly print. That means just what we need to do. So console.log, and we need to use product.get of 1. That means it will get the first value and print the value. This is get is used just to print it. That means to read based on the key. So based on the key, we can access and print it. Let's run this and see. So here tsc demo.ts node demo.js. It is an advanced option. Then old versions cannot support this map. So it will say that there is no map available, but we know that it is available. We have to change the library version. I will show you later when we start Angular how to set the libraries for TypeScript, how to avoid all these problems. I will tell you. Initially, node demo.js, that is working fine. That means it has to get that value and display. These are advanced options. They are not supported so in the older versions. So it should be from ES6 and above, right? So this is reading the value. That means you are just reading the value and presenting the value. Just reading and presenting a value. This is how we can access a value. We can access a value. We can even remove a value. We can search for a value. We can know the size of the value. We can remove all items from the value. We can read all the keys. We can read all the values, all the values. So, but one problem is there. That problem we need to understand. Actually, one issue is there. That issue we need to understand. This is get. Get. That means we need to read. And if I want to know the length, how many items are there, then console.log. Console.log. So product dot size. Size is a property. Will get how many items are there. That means it is used to get the number of items inside it. And I run this, it is used to get the number of items. How many are there? 2. Total number of items 2. You can search, you can clear, so you can configure by using these functions. That means delete. Already you learned delete operator. Here delete is to delete any particular item based on its key. That means if you want to remove, so this is for size, means how many are there you want to know, you can define the size. If you want to remove console, then what you can do is then product dot delete and the key that will be removed. I need to verify. So then product dot has suppose I say 3, then obviously it says it returns false. Why? Because there is no 3 key available. You can even verify is that particular key available or not. So based on that, so we can perform various operations. So has is to return true or false. Delete is to remove, just like how you deal with array, how you deal with the object, right? So these are general things. We have other options also. Other options is how we can read all the keys. We can read all the values. Actually, from an object, reading all the keys, reading all the values requires a little risky for iterations and all. Means we need to read the property first. Based on the property, we need to read the values first. But here, how we can read all the values? That means reading all the values. That means read all keys. How we can read all the keys and how we can configure them. That is simple. How we can read all the keys, how we can access all the keys. Suppose you want to read all the keys, then what you can do is you can simply define here a looping statement, means an iterator here. You can define an iterator. So that means console.log. I want to print all the keys. I want to print all the keys. Then how we can configure and read and use all the keys? So we need to use a for let key of actually the product dot keys. That means it will get all the keys. But actually in TypeScript, this is not supported directly. It is not supported directly. Why it is not supported? In JavaScript, it is supported. In JavaScript, it will work. In TypeScript, this is not supported because actually this returns an array. When it returns an array it returns an array of all the keys. When it returns array of all the keys, we cannot directly read it. That is problem in TypeScript. JavaScript can do that, no problem. In JavaScript, we use maps keys like this only. But in TypeScript, because it returns an array, we have to use a function. We need to use an array method, array dot from where data is coming. We have to define the iterator. That means again what we have to do, we have to perform an iteration on all the keys. That is done by using array from. Array have a from method. This from method will read all the keys and it will send every key into this. That means the key contains the collection of all keys, then we have to print it. Console.log, console.log, we are printing the key, If I am not using array from, because people who already learned JavaScript, they don't use this array from. They directly just use this. From JavaScript, where whoever learned JavaScript advanced, they know about this. Now, generally, those people will not use array from, and they will directly try to use it. Then you can see it is not returning the keys. There is no error, but it is unable to read those keys. This is additionally, we have to use array.from, and it will convert that into array, so that from the array it can read and present. Now I will run this here, because people who know JavaScript ES6 and higher versions, they know that we don't need that. Actually, now it is working. Keys are coming. It is returning all the keys. In the same way, you can return all the values. That means you can read all values. Actually, to read values, we have to use a different technique. But now here you can see, so values. To read all the values and display all the values, I'm using a for. So let value, and value of. So from where? Array from. This time product dot values. Values will return all the values. Now every value you need to just access and print by using this reference. That means it will get all the values and display. And similarly, entries, read all entries. Then we have to use console.log. You can read all the entries. You can use all the entries and configure all the entries. For that, we have to use for. So let entry. You can give any name. Of, again, array.from, product.entries. From the entries, we have to read all the entries. Then console.log and print that entry. This is how we can read the values. You can read the keys and you can read the entries. Entry means it will return all of them actually. That means you compile and run this. It will return all of them. That means entry means it will return all. Keys, you can see it returns the only keys. Values, it returns only values. Entries, it will return both keys and values references. Whatever the items are present, it will return all of them. It will configure and return all of them. That's what generally entries can do. That means you can read individually keys and the values. Earlier, in order to deal with an object, there is nothing to read all the properties directly. So we have to use an in operator to verify the properties. And there is nothing to directly read only values. Through the in operator, we are using another technique to read. Already we learned. And the differences I told you already. What are the differences between map and object? Now, when you are dealing with dynamic collections and we have to manage dynamic collections, then you can use this technique. So this is map. Where to use them, how to use them in real world applications, I will show you when we discuss Angular. In different occasions, you can see them. Means what is suitable correctly for that. We can understand, we can use them. That we will see. That is the basic point of a map. So that means how do we define the map with a key and value collection. One more newly introduced into this is set. So set in TypeScript. So when you know map, set also same. But only the point is actually set is a collection of keys. Collection of keys. It's not a key value pair. It is just a collection of keys. And important is the functions used by set. Functions used by set are same. So we have an add function here this time to add values. To add values, it is a collection, and we have hash. It is to verify value. Verify value. We have delete, that is to delete a value, and we have a size. This is to return the size. Return the size. All options are similar, but here important is it just contains the collection. It just contains the collection of only keys references can be stored into it. So especially later when you are working with databases and tables, generally when you are working with forms and database and tables and all, data comes from the collection, in the form of a collection, where we need to collect only the fields, only the values, right? The keys and values. So we need to get that references and use them. In such case, these type of collections are very important. These type of collections are important. No need to give any example. You can try in the same way. That means what you have to do in order to use a set. Set is also same. Just let. So products, or simply say categories. Categories. Categories is equal to a new set. A new set. And into the set, we can add only the values. So we can add only the values. That means categories dot add. All other options are clear. I just given a few options, right? Etc. All are same. Same like here you defined. Only the point is it will not have keys. It will not have keys. So rest of other options will be similar. No change, right? Only the values. That means add. You can see only the value. Suppose electronics, that is the value, and we have categories dot add. So here we have the options. So like footwear. Yeah, you can directly define. And if you want to read all of them, then we can use a for let entry of the collection is categories, because it contains only values. Categories, and here we are defining console.log entry. We are reading all of them. That means we can dynamically add, dynamically remove the contents from them. So these are the sets. We have a set here. So you can see here it is not returning anything. And the same point here. So this is having an array dot from. We can use the combination iterable. That means like this. It has to read all the values from that entry. So technically, all options are similar here. How we deal with that, everything is similar. So here, only the point you need to understand, you can see it gets electronics and footwear. Only the point is this is just a collection of keys. And it is a collection of both key and values. The rest of other options will be similar, no change. So adding, removing, clearing, searching, everything is same. So generally, when you are dealing with the data, you need to collect the keys and value references and use them. So then this will be a better option in future to handle that. For example, now I will give you one task, you try to do that. So one simple task I will give you, you try to do that task. So what is the task you need to try is, I will give you a task based on this, you can try. So first what you have to do is create a collection. So you create a collection here, means I'm giving you a task here. The task is create a map. Okay. So the map should contain data in this way. So map should contain the data. Generally, the map you can write in any way. Map should contain the data in a different way. That means here I defined the value. That means it is an array. right? Already we know that it is an array of arrays. So it contains the key, that is one, and here it contains an object, that means name. So some name, and it contains price. So some price. So that means what kind of value you can store into it. This is one. This is one reference. So like this, you have another like two, and it is having a name. So name, and here we defined some mobile. So like some price and some price. Okay, I added this like this. So that means this is another key. You create a map like this. Now the point is it possible to do like that? That means let data is equal to new map, and here we are defining a key value reference here one, and here we are using an object. So that is the name and a TV and a price and some price. I'm defining in this way. You can create a collection in this way. Create a collection in this way. Now what I want you to do here is create a set. So create a set and add all keys of map into set. Create a set and read all the values into it. Similarly, create a set and create another set and all values of map into set. Values of map into set. That means you need to create two sets here. So one set. So that is let set. One set is this is for keys. So one set. So this is keys set. So a new set. This is key set. Another set is for values set. For values, another set. Now important is in this set it should contain all the keys. In this set it should contain all the values. All the values. That means you need to create the set and push into them. And one more important point here. So you need to create values, means the values will be an object. So create a set. Another important is create a set. And add only product names into it. Create a set and add only products name into it. That means here you create another set called let products is equal to new set. And into this, I need to add only the products names. That means only these names should be added into that. These product names should be displayed there. They must be added here. That means only the product names must be added here. You need to try this. That means you need to create a collection which can handle this. Right? So hope you are clear with the exercise, what to do. I will upload this into the classroom means this diagram into that classroom. You can go through that. This is what you need to achieve. Everyone is clear what you have to try, right? Understood, na? Right. You need to achieve this. So that means you need to create three sets. One set of keys, another set of values, another set of only names from that particular reference. This requires a little bit complex iteration technique you need to follow. And what you have learned till now, you can manage that, right? Later, when we create the UI, we can add items dynamically, we can remove the items dynamically, we can search for the items dynamically. Those all things we can do, right? Dynamically, we can manage them. Initially, this you have to try. You can try that. You can see that, right? How to handle that. So that is the new collections, maps and sets. If you can try this example, so this is one task for you. So that means this is task one. You try this task, right? This is task one. So task one. Okay. Now another task I will give you. If you can do this task, I will give you another task. Tomorrow I will give you some more tasks on that. So in those tasks, you will see a different approach. If you can do this, then next level I will give you more complex. Generally, we use that in regular Angular actually. Generally, we use that in regular Angular. That's the reason you need to understand there, right? Okay. So how we can use in Angular, I will tell you later how we can use in Angular. If you can do this task, I will give you how in real world we can use this in different occasions. One another task I will give. Then you can have a good clarity on this, right? So this is all about sets and maps that are newly added into the collection, and everything I told you. What is the so it is an enumerator. It is an enumerator. Generally, if you have learnt language, have you learnt anything about any enumerator? What is an enum? Anything? Any one of you? Enumerator? Any idea? What is an enumerator? Anyone have any idea about what is enum? Generally, have you heard about enumerator? Okay, right. Okay. So iterator, okay, set of constants, okay, good, right? Yes, fine, good, okay. Uh, okay, user defined data type, constant values, fixed number, okay, right, okay, fine. Uh, generally, generally, what is the purpose? What is the purpose of an enumerator? So that means actually the purpose of enumerator. That means you are saying that it is a collection of constants. So many people have said that mean collection of constants, fixed values. Now it is a collection of constants, right? Fixed collection of constant fixed values, right? I think all of your people meaning is that right. Then generally, if I have to maintain a collection of constants, that means I can use like const. So values is a string type, array is equal to, here I can define some constants. It is also a collection of constants now. What do you say? It is also a collection of constants now. Then what do you think the difference between enum and constant? Understood my question, everyone? Right? Enum, okay. Constants array means collection of constants only, na? Constants array means collection of constants. Enum or static. You are saying enum static. Okay. Okay. Fine. Enum is not a array, but it is a collection, right? Right. Okay. Actually, so generally, uh, fine. Actually, one of the major advantages is, okay, what you said about collection is correct, right? It is a collection. So it is a collection. It is correct. Collection of constants. It is correct. It is a collection of constant. It is also correct, right? It is a collection of constant. That is correct. But the point here is, so, okay, okay. The advantage of enum, the advantage of enum. So technically, the advantage of enum, I will tell you here. The point here is actually general. The concept of this is technically in computer programming. So enum is in computer programming. Enum refers to enumerated type, refers to enumerated type. Actually, enumerated type, it refers to enumerated type. Actually, it is also called as, it is also known as enumeration, or you call as enum, or you can even call as, or factor. You can also call as factor. Generally, the word factor is mostly used in a language called R. R language is there. In R language, so we call it as a factor actually. So that means one of the main point, so that means it is a data type. Actually, it is a data type. It is a data type. It is a data type that consists of a set of named values, that consists of set of named values, so which are called as elements, or members, or you can call enumerals, or enumerators, or you can call enumerators. So that is what actually the intention is. The usually enums have an identifiers, so which behaves as a constant. It is behave as a constant actually. The main concept is enum. The word enum actually from a type. Actually, it came from a type. Enumeration, it is of type. It is of type. So to do that, generally, how we can deal with this, I will give you one simple example, means how we can handle with this. And one more important point is, mostly we use this as a type. So because don't treat it as a collection. Actually, it is a collection of constants. It comprises of collection of constants. But we don't prefer this to use as a collection. We don't prefer this to use as a collection. Actually, we prefer this to use technically we prefer this to use as not a collection type. We don't use as a collection type. So generally we use this as data type, to refer as a data type. For this, you need to understand one more proper point here. Actually, we learned about contracts. In the contracts, we discussed about how to define the contracts, how do we configure the contracts and use the contracts. Actually, when you learned about the contracts, means when we discussed about the concept of uh, interfaces, first let's go to that point here to understand. Actually, we have interface. So generally in interfaces, we have properties. Interface contains properties and functions, properties and methods. So we have indexing of properties. Properties can be indexed. That is one great point is there here. That means we can index the property. That means in an object, if there is a property, that property can be indexed again. Index based access for the properties. Directly, there is no such concept at all. But indexing of property allows us to even identify the object related mechanism. That means object related reference. That means when you are storing any object or any array or any component, we can configure an index for it, and through that index we can access it. This is very much asked in very experienced people interviews. So what is the indexing of properties? Why we need indexing of properties? At high level, very experienced level interviews, they ask this, how you index the properties. Generally, we have learned that, so we can define a property. That means suppose I said custom array. Okay, so that means this is a custom array. And here we define a property. Suppose index is a property. And in the property, we can define the data type. So the data type is string type. That means it will store a string value. You can store a string value into it. But actually, our index is this index is configured. This index, I'm configuring this index. I'm configuring this index as a number type with return type as string. This is indexing property. That means now generally this is a property and this property contains a string value. Okay, good. But this property is having an index based access. This property can have an index based access. It can have an index based access. Suppose here I defined as any type, or if I defined as object type. So any type is object type. I'll configure this as any type. Then here what we are doing is we are creating so a custom array, some my array. So that means some array. Suppose I defined like products is an array. It is of type custom array. Now, how you store the values into this? How do we store the values into it? Into the products, we can store the values in an array form like this. Into an array form. And in this, we are storing any type. That means here I am defining first one. So it contains a property name, that is TV. And another one, it contains price as some price. Some value means I configured the value in this way. This is one object. I'm adding another object. So this is having a name. So, and this is some mobile, and I'm adding some price. Some price is configured here. Now this is an array. Now generally, how we can access this? That means it is an index base. That means actually this is 0 index. So this is 1 index. You can access that. That means what we are doing is we are accessing a product, and this product is an any type. So LET product, and this product is an any type, and it is expecting data coming from products, and indexing. That means it will allow to access by using this number. Now, if you remembered, I told you that array properties are string type. So you remember that point, array properties are referred as a string type. Remember that we also used it. No? Already we also used that. Now here I am configuring this property 0 as a string type. We are defining the property as a string type because it is configured in that array as a string type. So, or we can configure this as a number type. So here I am printing that console.log. I want to print that product. What is there in the product? Actually, product is an object. That means it should have the property. It should have the property as name. Name is a property in it. That means I want to print the product name that is defined inside it. That means I'm accessing this and I'm printing this here. And you see it prints that TV. That means here it is a number type. Actually, indexing is a number type. But properties in an array can be accessed through the string references also. That means now the point here is you configured this as a number type, then it should take only number. Then why it is allowing a string? Actually, that is not the concept. Actually, why you are using this index number, and here you are referring to the data type as any type or any another type. The main intention here is we can access the values. We can access the values in the memory reference, in the memory, not here. In the memory, this is referred as a number type index. In the memory, it is referred as a number type index. Then through that memory reference, you can access its complete value and use the value. And this will be strongly typed only for number. It will not be for any another type. For example, see, I will keep it more simple here now. What I am doing here is first I will keep it more simple. Then we can see later string. This is string type. And your products is a custom array. That means its type is this custom array type. That means it should implement here. And we need to just define as products, that is array. Then into that, we are passing the data. So that means you are just using products. It is an array type. That means we can configure this. This is TV and this is mobile. Now, how you can access this? Now, don't think that this is array. Actually, this is not the traditional array. This is the custom array. We created an array. This is a custom array. We created an array. Right? So, because we are not using any new array type memory. And don't think that this will create the array. It is not creating the array. Already array is created. We are allocating memory for array. In that, we are storing the values. And what will be the index number? How we can access? Console.log. Products of 0. It should get the first value and display. Actually, this is referring to this index number. That means we are not using the arrays that are built-in available with TypeScript. We are creating our own array and we are using it. So this is a custom array. Generally, array means the declaration must be a square brace. We don't need a square brace like definition here because this is having a property as index. And this index property allow us to access the value directly like this. That means with the index reference, we can access those values. How to assign them and use them, indexing of the properties, I will tell you in a different example, we will discuss about that. This is very important, especially to store the values in the memory with a specific index reference and use the values. Right here, that's it. Here we are creating our own index. We are creating our own index with our own type of index. Understood? That means here we are creating our own index and configuring our own type of index. Right? So we are configuring it and we are using it. This is our own type of index. and we are using the type of index. This is actually indexing. This is generally called indexing. So generally, while we use this indexing of the properties. Indexing. Later in different occasions, you will understand. So with some more examples, I will tell you. Actually, this is called indexing. Indexing property. Indexing property in interface. Interface. This is indexing the property in interface. How you can index the property in interface. Property in interface. Once you know this, that means you can understand that, okay, I have to create a type for key value references. That means my type should be like this. I created my own type, which will have a number type and which will have a reference. Then I can use my simple reference name to access and use them. To handle this situation, this type of collections, so that we can easily access the values with the references. We can easily access the numbers with references. We can easily access the expressions with references in the memory. They have designed a concept called enums, enumerations. Actually, enumerations is to handle the problem. Enumeration is to handle the problem, is to handle the problem that we are facing. Handle the problem that we are facing with this indexing of properties. So enums makes it more better. That means enum is not used like a collection. However, its definition says that it is a collection of constants. But generally we have to use these enums as a type. So we have to configure it as a type. Then it will be more easier to implement the such type of memory and allocation of the memory for handling different values, right? So never use enum or think enum like a collection. So always use and refer the enums as a type so that it will be easy for us to handle. So the issues with indexing of properties, because this is our own type. How you can create an enum now? So I will show you the basic syntax of enum. Instead of this now, what we can do is we can create an enum now. Enum contains some error code, something like error codes. This contains some references here. That means I will say some not found, and is equal to 404. That means now this is a string reference to access this number. And what I do is I create errors. It is of type error codes. Use it as a type. And through errors, you can access the values. Or you can simply define. So what you want to access. That means here we need to configure its value. How to work with an enum? How do we define the enum? I will tell you. Right. So how do we read and use the values? We will discuss about that. But this is the intention of configuring this. This errors is of type error codes. To do that, you can access those values. So always use enums not as collection, use as type. And why this type is required, how enum type works, what are the various options for these enums, that we will discuss in tomorrow's session. So by tomorrow, we will finish enum, and two more important topics are there. That is modules and the namespace. These are the two last topics we discuss in TypeScript, namespaces. So mostly by tomorrow, day after tomorrow, we will finish TypeScript part. Then we can start Angular part, right? You can start working with Angular. So tomorrow we will continue with this, okay? Right. I will upload that exercise. You try to do that exercise by tomorrow, okay? Right.